Joe Lieberman. Isn't it time that the media outlets, including the Associated Press, stop calling Joe Lieberman a Democrat? There's been a bunch of articles in the last few days from the Associated Press that refer to Senate Democrats or something opposing health care, whatever the topic is. And then they show a picture of Joe Lieberman and explain in the articles that it's mostly Joe Lieberman and Republicans that hold a certain view, even though the article makes it seem that Senate Democrats means Joe Lieberman. It's very clear to me that Joe Lieberman hasn't represented the general consensus of the Democratic Party for years now, is it not?
Several years.
Are you a mainstream Democrat when, number one, you lost the Democratic Party primary in Connecticut to an actual Democrat because you're too conservative, and then you switched party designation to win with the conservative vote in your state, right? Joe Lieberman switched to an independent because he could get the conservative vote in Connecticut and be reelected to the Senate. Are you a mainstream Democrat when you ran against the Democrat who won the state nomination? Are you a Democrat when you won back your Senate seat with the help of Republicans, banks, insurance companies, credit card companies? And are you a Democrat when you endorsed the Republican candidate for president in 2008 after a disastrous two-term run with a Republican president and campaigned for him and campaigned for Sarah Palin? That, to me, Lewis, does not sound like a Democrat.
Well, as long as he calls himself a Democrat, he's a Democrat.
He doesn't. He calls himself an independent.
Well,
he said he would caucus with the Democrats, and many still consider him. It's time to say goodbye to Joe Lieberman, I think. If you're the Democrats, they said hello to Arlen Specter. It's time to say goodbye to Joe Lieberman, I believe.
I couldn't agree more. We'll see.
Gay marriage. Bishop Harry Jackson, if you haven't heard of him, is the senior pastor at the Hope Christian Church in Washington, D.C. He's a violent opponent of gay marriage and of relationships between same-sex couples. Lately, the Washington Post has published what I think are some really favorable pieces about this guy, who's going out of his way to ruin the lives of gay couples, not seeking to interfere or impose being gay on anyone else. I know a lot of people don't know this, Lewis, but gay couples aren't trying to make other people gay, right? They're gay, and they would like to be in gay relationships, but they're not trying to make other people gay. At least nobody that I've met.
Right. Not as far as I know.
The Center for American Progress held a press call on Thursday to release their new report titled Time to Stop the Lies, countering Harry Jackson's distortions. The call featured a bunch of people, including Center for American Progress senior fellow Sam Fullwood, and he said the following about how the church is in contradiction with the rest of the world. Take a listen.
In no way is a poor single mother who lives in Anacostia disadvantaged by two women or two men who choose to get married. In fact, in some ways, she may be advantaged. Particularly, she would be advantaged if she happens to be a lesbian herself. And that argument doesn't seem to hold. There's this sense that black Americans are not gay, and that by racializing the argument to say that this is only a small segment of elite whites denies the existence that everybody, in particular people in the church, know to be in contradiction with the reality of the world. And I think that needs to be pointed out as we examine this issue.
Okay, and then Reverend Dr. Dennis Wiley, who has served for 22 years as a pastor of the Covenant Baptist Church in D.C., he's a big proponent of gay marriage, and here is why.
As an African-American, heterosexual, male Christian minister, I am in full support of marriage equality for the District of Columbia. And I support it not because it is safe or politic or popular to do so, but because I believe it is right. I believe it is theologically right because we are all created equal in the image of God. I believe it is historically right because those of us who have been the victims of oppression ought to be the last ones, in my opinion, to oppress anybody else.
So that's an interesting point. And the Proposition 8 vote in California is one where we saw a lot of African Americans vote against gay marriage in California.
Right.
And that's exactly the question I had. You would think groups that have been victims of oppression in the past would be that much more likely to support moving in the opposite direction, which in this case means allowing gay people to have the same type of legal marriage relationship that heterosexual couples are able to. We've heard from a lot of pastors about different positions on gay marriage, have we not?
Lesbianism about to take over our community. I'm talking about young girls. My son in high school last year trying to go to the prom. He said, Dad, I ain't got nobody to take to the prom because all the girls in my class are gay, and he was 2 of them straight and both of them ugly.
Okay, so we know that we could get that from members of churches about gay marriage. We're not getting that with Dr. Dennis Wiley, and we're glad to be able to say that. 2010 and 2012, former Mayor Rudy Giuliani has decided not to run for governor next year, but will run for U.S. Senate instead, according to some sources. However, the Giuliani camp has vigorously denied the rumors, saying it's simply not true. That's just one interesting race we're going to keep an eye on, and we will talk about moving into the 2010 election. That's it for this week. Please sign up for the Midweek Politics newsletter on midweekpolitics.com, and we will be back next week with plenty more.
This is Midweek Politics with Dave Pakman.